You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's 3 a.m. The room is dark and quiet. Everyone else in your house is asleep. You should be asleep too. But instead, you are lying there with your eyes wide open, and your brain is doing something cruel. It is replaying that thing you said to someone 3 years ago. It is telling you that you are failing at your job. It is convincing you that the people you love are going to leave. It is making a small problem feel like the end of the world. Your heart is beating faster than it should be. Your chest feels tight. You pull the blanket up, but you are not cold. You are scared, and you do not even know why. And here's the worst part. You believe every single word your brain is saying. But here is what nobody ever told you. That version of you, the one lying awake at 3 a.m., terrified, convinced that everything is falling apart, is not the real you. It is not even close to the real you. And once you understand what is actually happening inside your brain at that exact moment, you will never look at a sleepless night the same way again. Let's start with something that will genuinely surprise you. Right now, as you watch this, your brain is in charge. You are thinking clearly. You can make decisions. You can separate a big problem from a small one. You know that a missed phone call is not a disaster. You know that making one mistake at work does not mean you are a failure. You know all of this. It feels obvious. But at 3 a.m., none of that is available to you. And not because you are weak or broken. Because of a very specific part of your brain that basically shuts down while you sleep. It is called the prefrontal cortex. Think of your prefrontal cortex as the most responsible adult in your head. It is the part of your brain that says, calm down. Let's think about this properly. It is the part that looks at a problem and decides how serious it actually is. It helps you control your emotions. It tells the panic part of your brain to sit down and relax. And here's the problem. Between about 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., your prefrontal cortex is at its weakest. It is not fully awake. Scientists discovered this by studying brain activity during different hours of the night. The part of your brain that is supposed to be the calm, reasonable adult is basically taking a nap. So who is left running things at 3 a.m.? The amygdala. The amygdala is the oldest part of your brain. It has been there since before humans even existed. It is the part that kept your ancient ancestors alive when a lion was nearby. Its entire job is to detect danger and sound the alarm. It does not think. It does not reason. It just screams. It looks at everything around you and asks one question. Is this going to kill me? At 3 a.m., with your prefrontal cortex half asleep and your amygdala fully awake, your brain becomes a smoke detector with no off button. A small worry walks into the room, and the alarm goes off at full volume. An unpaid bill becomes a financial disaster. A small argument with a friend becomes proof that nobody actually likes you. A little headache becomes something you are sure is serious. You are not overreacting because you are dramatic. You are overreacting because the part of your brain that would normally say, this is fine, is not available right now. The 3 a.m. version of you is making life decisions with half a brain. Literally. Now here is where it gets even more interesting. Your brain does not just leave things alone at night. It does something strange and honestly a little sneaky. It goes searching. During the hours between midnight and 4 a.m., your brain actively digs through your memories. Scientists call this memory consolidation. While you sleep, your brain is sorting through everything that happened during the day, deciding what to keep, what to file away, and what to connect to old memories. But here's the part nobody talks about. Your brain has a bias. When it goes searching at night, it is not looking for the good stuff. It is looking for threats. It is looking for unfinished problems. It is looking for anything that feels unresolved or dangerous, because that is what it was designed to do. It is still running ancient software that was written when humans needed to survive, not when they needed a good night's sleep. So it finds that conversation you had last week where you said something a little awkward, and instead of filing it away as small and unimportant, it flags it. It puts a big red mark on it. It pulls it out and puts it right in front of you at 3 a.m. and says, look at this. This is a problem. You need to fix this right now. That moment of embarrassment from 2 years ago, your brain found it. That fear you buried about your future, your brain dug it up. That thing someone said to you in passing that you barely noticed at the time, your brain has been holding on to it. And at 3 a.m., with no prefrontal cortex to say this is old, this is small, this does not matter right now. Every single one of those things feels brand new and urgent and terrifying. You're not going crazy. Your brain is doing its job. It's just doing it at the worst possible time, with the worst possible tools, in the worst possible light. There's a name for what happens to your thinking at this hour. Psychologists call it catastrophic thinking. It means your brain takes something small and builds it into the worst possible version of itself. Here's how it works. A thought enters your mind. Something like, I did not finish that project at work today. In the daytime, your prefrontal cortex looks at that thought and says, okay, I will finish it tomorrow. No big deal. But at 3 a.m., the catastrophic thinking chain starts. I did not finish the project. My boss is going to notice. My boss already thinks I'm not good enough. I might lose my job. If I lose my job, I cannot pay my rent. If I cannot pay my rent, I will lose my home. Everything is going to fall apart. In less than 60 seconds, a missing report has turned into a full life collapse. And the entire time, your brain is treating every step of that chain as solid fact. Not possibility. Not worry. Fact. This is not you being irrational. This is your ancient brain doing exactly what it was built to do. Trace every threat to its most dangerous possible conclusion, so that you are prepared for the worst. 10,000 years ago, that skill kept people alive. If you heard a sound in the forest at night, assuming it was the most dangerous thing possible, and running kept you breathing until morning. But today, there are no lions in the forest. There's just a work email you forgot to send, being processed by a brain that has not changed much since the Stone Age. But wait, it actually gets stranger than that. Have you ever noticed that at 3 a.m., you are absolutely certain about things that feel completely different in the morning? At 3 a.m., you are certain the relationship is over. You wake up at 8 a.m. and think, we just had a small argument. We are fine. At 3 a.m., you are certain you're going to fail. You wake up at 8 a.m. and think, I just need to prepare a bit more. At 3 a.m., you are certain something terrible is about to happen. You wake up at 8 a.m., and you cannot even remember exactly what scared you so much. Why does this happen? Because the emotions your brain creates at 3 a.m. feel completely real, but they are not connected to reality the same way your daytime emotions are. They are being generated by a brain that is chemically different from your daytime brain. Here is something most people do not know. Your brain chemistry changes throughout the night. The hormone cortisol, which is your body's main stress chemical, follows a specific curve. It is at its lowest point in the early evening, but it starts climbing in the early hours of the morning, reaching a peak around 8 a.m. to prepare your body to wake up and face the day. This means that in the early hours of the morning, right around 3 a.m., your cortisol is already on its way up. Your body is slowly switching from sleep mode to alert mode. And as your cortisol rises, so does your sense of threat. So does your anxiety. So does your feeling that something is wrong. You're not just imagining things at 3 a.m. Your body is literally pumping more stress chemicals into your bloodstream at that exact hour. The 3 a.m. version of you is running on different fuel. It is a different chemical environment, a different brain state, with different parts active and different parts asleep. It is almost like a different person wearing your face. And that person does not deserve to be trusted with your most important thoughts. Now I want you to think about something. How many decisions have you made at 3 a.m. that you regretted by morning? How many times have you sent a message you wish you had not sent? How many times have you decided a friendship was over, only to feel embarrassed about that conclusion the next day? How many times have you lain awake building a problem so big in your head that it would have taken a month to solve, only to sit down with it in the morning and realize it was one phone call? This is not about being weak. This is not about lacking willpower. This is about the simple fact that your brain at 3 a.m. is not capable of accurately measuring the size of a problem. It does not have the right tools. The ruler it is using is broken. Scientists who study sleep and decision-making have found something very clear. People who make important decisions late at night consistently make worse decisions than people who wait until morning. Not a little worse. Significantly worse. The brain's ability to weigh consequences, see other people's perspectives, and resist emotional reactions is at its lowest point in those early morning hours. which means that almost every terrifying conclusion your 3 a.m. brain has ever arrived at was wrong. Not a little wrong. Dramatically, embarrassingly, obviously wrong. At least by the time the sun came up. Think about that for a moment. All that suffering, all that fear, all those hours lying awake, convinced that your life was falling apart. And the next morning, the light comes in and everything looks different. The world did not change. You did. Or rather, your brain did. It woke up properly. The prefrontal cortex came back online. The cortisol leveled out. The amygdala settled down. And suddenly the disaster became a minor inconvenience. The morning did not fix the problem. The morning fixed the brain that was looking at the problem. So what do you actually do when it happens? Because here's the truth. Knowing why 3 a.m. feels so terrifying does not automatically stop it from feeling terrifying. Your brain does not care about science while the alarm is going off. So let's talk about what actually works. The first thing is the most important. Do not argue with the 3 a.m. version of yourself. This sounds strange, but when you try to fight your 3 a.m. thoughts by telling yourself, stop overreacting, this is not a big deal. You're essentially trying to win an argument against a panicking smoke alarm by explaining that there is no fire. The alarm cannot hear you. It does not process logic right now. It just screams. The moment you start arguing with 3 a.m. thoughts, you feed them. You give them attention. You make them feel more real. Your brain thinks, this must be important. We are spending so much time on it. Instead, do this. Name it out loud, even in a whisper. Say, this is my 3 a.m. brain. This is not real thinking. That sentence alone does something measurable in your brain. Researchers at UCLA found that naming an emotion or mental state, what they call affect labeling, actually reduces the activity in the amygdala. You are not fixing the problem. You are turning down the volume on the alarm slightly. You are reminding the most rational part of you, the tiny piece of prefrontal cortex still awake, that this is a known situation. You've been here before. You survived it. The second thing is to write it down, not to solve it, just to get it out of your head. Your brain keeps recycling a worry because it is afraid of forgetting it. It thinks if it stops thinking about the problem will disappear unsolved. Writing it down tells your brain, I have recorded this. You do not need to keep it running in the background. It is like saving a file before you close it. The brain relaxes its grip just slightly. And the third thing, the most powerful thing, is to make a promise with your morning self. When a 3 a.m. thought says, you need to figure this out right now, tell it, I will deal with this at 9 a.m. I am writing it down, and I will deal with it in the morning. And then actually write it down. Your brain begins to trust this process over time. It learns that problems do not fall through cracks just because you stop thinking about them at 3 a.m. And slowly, gradually, the 3 a.m. spirals become shorter, less convincing, easier to set down. There is one more thing I need to tell you, and this is the part one wants you to remember the most. Every single person who has ever lived, at some point, lay awake at 3 a.m. convinced that everything was wrong. Your parents did it. Your grandparents did it. People who look completely calm and put together in the daylight are lying awake right now in the dark, building the same catastrophes in their heads that you build in yours. You are not weak for this. You are not broken for this. You are not different from everyone else because of this. You are human with a human brain that was built for a world that no longer exists. A brain that is still scanning for lions in the dark, even though the lions are long gone. The 3 a.m. version of you is not a prophet. It is not seeing something the daytime version of you is too busy to notice. It is not showing you the truth that you have been hiding from. It is a fire alarm in an empty building. It is a guard dog barking at a shadow. It is your ancient, exhausted, chemically altered brain doing the only thing it knows how to do. Protect you from danger that is not there. The real you shows up in the morning. The real you shows up in the decisions you make with a clear head, an rested brain, and the sun coming through the window. The real you is the version that can look at the same problem the 3 a.m. version was convinced was catastrophic, and say, okay, I can handle this. That version, the calm one, the reasonable one, the one that is not shaking the dark, that is who you actually are. The next time you wake up at 3 a.m. and your brain starts telling you that everything is terrible and nothing will be okay, I want you to remember this. The alarm is going off, but there is no fire. And in a few hours, when the sun comes up and your brain comes back to you, you will see that for yourself. You already survived every single 3 a.m. you have ever had, every one of them, and the morning always came.